Most lists promise mind-bending films and then show you the same titles everyone already knows. But there's another category of cinema. Films that slipped through the cracks, stayed underground, and quietly rewired the people who found them. Today, I'm showing you 7 films about identity, memory, meaning, and the terrifying moments when reality feels slightly wrong. Let's start with something that looks like paradise. The Bothersome Man, a Norwegian film from 2006, drops you into a city where everything works perfectly. The food tastes like nothing. The sex feels mechanical. Everyone smiles, but nobody laughs. Our protagonist arrives in this place after what seems like a suicide attempt. He gets a job, an apartment, a girlfriend, everything a person could want, except meaning. There's no pain here, no struggle, no real emotion. It's a world designed for comfort. But comfort isn't the same as fulfillment. And here's where it gets disturbing. He discovers a crack in a wall. Through it, he hears music. Real music. The kind that makes you feel something. He becomes obsessed with that crack, with that tiny window into something authentic. Think about that for a moment. What does it say about us that paradise feels wrong when there's nothing to fight for? When there's no contrast, no darkness to make the light meaningful? This film suggests that maybe we need suffering. Not because we're masochistic, but because meaning requires resistance. Black Mirror fans would lose their minds over this one, but almost nobody knows it exists. Now let's talk about identity theft at a biological level. Upstream Color, from 2013, is not an easy watch. A woman gets drugged by a thief using a parasitic worm. The worm makes her suggestible. He empties her bank account. But that's just the beginning. The parasite gets transferred to pigs. And somehow, through this biological chain, her consciousness becomes linked with others who've been infected. Her memories mix with theirs. She falls in love with a man. But is it real love? Or is it just a side effect of shared neural pathways? Here's the terrifying question. If your memories can be implanted, stolen, or mixed with someone else's, what part of you is actually you? We like to think our identity is stable, that our memories define us. But what if consciousness is more like a radio frequency, something that can be shared, interrupted, hijacked? If you loved Perfect Blue or the existential dread of Primer, this is your next obsession. But be warned, you won't understand it completely on the first watch, or the second. Speaking of new identities, let's rewind to 1966. Seconds is a film that predicted our modern obsession with reinvention. A middle-aged man is miserable, dead marriage, dead career, dead inside. Then he's offered a chance by a mysterious organization. They'll fake his death, give him a new body, a new life. He can start over as a young artist living on the beach. Sounds perfect, right? Wrong. Because he brings his old mind into his new body. His insecurities don't disappear with his wrinkles. His emptiness doesn't vanish with his gray hair. In fact, it gets worse. Because now he can't even blame his unhappiness on his circumstances. He has everything he thought he wanted, and he's still miserable. This is the nightmare behind every self-help promise, every plastic surgery commercial, every fresh start fantasy. The problem isn't your body or your situation. The problem is that you take yourself with you wherever you go. And if you haven't done the internal work, changing the external is just expensive decoration on the same broken foundation. This film from 50 years ago looks like it could have been made yesterday, but it's been almost completely forgotten. That should tell you something about how much we want to avoid this particular truth. Now let's talk about death, but not the scary kind. Afterlife, a Japanese film from 1998, imagines death as a peaceful bureaucracy. You die, you arrive at a way station, and you're given a task. Choose one memory from your entire life, just one. That memory will be recreated for you, and you'll live in it forever. Everything else gets erased. One memory. That's all you get to keep. The film follows the staff who help the newly dead make their choice. Some people know immediately. A mother chooses the moment she held her newborn. A young woman chooses a day at a theme park. But others struggle. One man has lived 70 years and can't find a single moment worth preserving. Here's what makes this devastating. It's not asking what your happiest moment was. It's asking what moment defines you. What single experience contains everything you want to remember about being alive? And most people in the film realize they can't answer that question. They've lived entire lives and can't point to one moment and say, that's what it all meant. This film turns into a mirror, because you're not just watching, you're choosing. Right now, watching this, you're mentally scanning your life, trying to decide. And the fact that it's hard, that's the point. The comments section under this video is going to be something special, because people will share. They'll write about their moments, their one memory. This film makes you think and confess at the same time. But let's shift gears. Let's talk about something that feels less like philosophy and more like prophecy.
Punishment Park, from 1971, is a mockumentary that pretends to document a dystopian America. Political dissidents, young activists, and protesters are given a choice: years in prison or 3 days in Punishment Park. If they can reach an American flag planted in the desert while being hunted by armed authorities, they go free. Spoiler alert, nobody reaches the flag. What makes this film terrifying is how quickly civilization collapses when you suspend the rules. The authority figures aren't monsters. They're ordinary people who've been told this is legal now, this is justice, and they believe it. Watch how fast empathy disappears. Watch how quickly law and order becomes just order. Watch how easily people rationalize cruelty when it's systemic. This film was made over 50 years ago, but it feels like it was ripped from tomorrow's headlines. If you've seen The Act of Killing, you understand how ordinary people commit extraordinary evil. This is the American version, and it's horrifyingly plausible. The film asks, what's the distance between democracy and tyranny? And the answer it gives is one emergency, one decree, one moment when we agree the rules don't apply. If that doesn't make you uncomfortable, you're not paying attention. Now let's descend into something darker, something ancient. A Dark Song from 2016 is a horror film, but not the kind with jump scares and monsters. It's about a woman who hires an occultist to perform a months-long ritual. She wants to contact her guardian angel. She has a wish, and she's willing to pay any price to see it through. The ritual is based on real occult texts. It's exhausting, painful, isolating. They can't leave the house. They perform the same actions over and over. The occultist is abusive, demanding. The woman breaks down multiple times, but she continues. And here's the horror. The ritual works, but not in the way she expected. Not in the way anyone would want. Because when you ask the universe for something, when you demand an audience with the divine, you don't get to control what answers, or what it costs. This film understands something most horror doesn't. Here, the scariest thing isn't that God doesn't exist. It's that God might exist, might answer, and might not care about your suffering. Might demand suffering as the price of admission. It's horror for people who read philosophy. It's metaphysical dread wrapped in ritualistic realism. And it ends with a moment that will either devastate you or elevate you, depending on what you bring to it. Finally, let's end where language breaks down entirely. The Hourglass Sanatorium from 1973 is a Polish fever dream. A young man visits his dying father in a sanatorium where time doesn't work properly. Past and future exist simultaneously. The dead walk among the living. Reality itself is decaying. Director Wojciech Has created something that feels like being inside someone else's dying mind. Memories overlap. History repeats and distorts. Nothing is stable. The imagery is haunting. Trains that go nowhere. Rooms filled with forgotten objects. faces that appear and disappear. It's beautiful and disturbing in equal measure, and it refuses to explain itself. In this film, time decays, like fruit rotting, like photographs yellowing, or memories losing their edges until you can't tell what's real anymore. It's the perfect ending to this list because it takes you beyond philosophy into pure sensation, beyond questions into poetry. If these films felt unsettling, that's the point. They sit in your mind days later, asking questions you didn't know how to phrase. So, which one disturbed you the most, and why? And if you know a film that belongs in this quiet, dangerous category, share it below. Because the most mind-bending movies aren't the loud ones. They're the ones you discover too late and never fully escape. Thank you for watching.